how am I going to perform in my job, running this hedge fund, running this venture capital firm, running this tech company, in whatever it is that they're doing, whatever their career is? How am I supposed to perform to make money, to provide for myself or my family if I start to dive into this emotional shit?
If I'm deep in my feels,
right?
I'm deep in my feels pitch.
And it's such a real thing. It's like, if I get cracked open and I start to talk about, the neglect or my father's death or whatever it is, how am I going to function? And so there's this very real fear of, if I started to deal with the thing that I know is bringing me down, it's going to bring me down even faster.
If this was a movie and the audience was screaming at you, what would they be screaming?
You're already doing enough. You're already doing enough. Stop whipping yourself into submission, thinking that your happiness sits on the other side of the next set of goals that you're going to achieve. You've already achieved goals that you said would make you happy. So if you haven't made it now, if this isn't when life is going to begin, then when are you going to start? There's this wonderful idea of the deferred life hypothesis. Deferred life hypothesis is basically the sort of common belief that our life hasn't yet begun. That what's happening now is a sort of prelude, it's an intro to our life truly beginning. And upon reflection, what a lot of people realize is that this prelude that they run through was a mirage that sort of faded as they approached, and they were actually just running toward the end of their life. Like, they're permanently putting things off. I get it. People have got realistic, structural, monetary requirements. They've got to get up, they've got to go to work, they've got to fucking change their nappy, they've got to walk the dog, they've got things that they need to do. That's not what I'm talking about. My point is, everybody thinks, a lot of people think, in one form or another, that my life will begin when. They're holding their happiness hostage. They're in a holding pattern, like a plane that can't land for some reason. It's like, what if that never changes? What if your problems in life are never ever going to go away? What if problems are always going to be there? What then? Oh wow, well, I'm never going to arrive. That means I need to start living now. And I think for me, there's definitely a lot of, I will get there once the tasks of today are completed, once the problems are gotten through. There'll never be a time when there's no problems in life. Problems are a feature, not a bug.
I've actually always found something to be very true, which is most people don't get those experiences because they never ask. I've never found anybody that didn't want to help me if I asked them for help. I always call them up. I called up, this will date me, but I called up Bill Hewlett when I was 12 years old, and he lived in Palo Alto. His number was still in the phone book. And he answered the phone himself. He said, yes? He said, hi, I'm Steve Jobs. I'm 12 years old. I'm a student in high school, and I want to build a frequency counter. And I was wondering if you had any spare parts I could have. And he laughed, and he gave me the spare parts to build this frequency counter, and he gave me a job that summer in Hewlett-Packard, working on the assembly line, putting nuts and bolts together on frequency counters. He got me a job in the place that built them. And I was in heaven. And I've never found anyone who said no or hung up the phone when I called. I just asked. And when people ask me, I try to be as responsive, to pay that debt of gratitude back. Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act. And you've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to crash and burn. With people on the phone, with starting a company.
It feels like time is just moving faster and faster nowadays, and we really don't get enough of it. And that's kind of what I want the emphasis of this video to be on for you guys, is to realize you don't have as much time as you think you do, and there's never going to be a perfect time for you guys to start. The biggest mistake that I ever made in my entire life was waiting for the perfect time to start, waiting for all the stars to align, because if you wait for that, you're never going to get the chance to start, because the perfect time to start, there's never going to be a perfect time for anybody to start. Never, ever, 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 at all. There's just never going to be a perfect time. There's always going to be complications. Every single person in this world has problems, has shit that pops up on a daily basis, has random things that they have to deal with, problems that they face on a daily basis. And there's never going to be a perfect time to start taking action towards your dream life. And if you wait for that perfect moment and just stay zoomed in on the crosshairs without pulling the trigger for your entire life, you're going to be sitting on your deathbed thinking about what if I actually took action when I was younger? What if I, pursued trading at coming out of high school? What if I actually spent all that time backtesting like I said I wanted to and actually pursued my dream of being a full-time trader? And this doesn't even have to apply to trading. It can apply to anything.
Find a thing that you're passionate about.
Like an activity.
Yes. For me, early on, it was drawing. It was illustrations. It was comic books. I wanted to be a comic book illustrator. And then it went from comic book drawing and illustrations to martial arts. So, but it was just another thing that I was very, very passionate about. And that was my vehicle out of my dilemma. That was my vehicle out of my own anxiety and trauma and my own issues and insecurities. And find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial for young people, because it lets you know that, everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser. At least a young person in the situation I was at. I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning, until I started doing martial arts. Martial arts taught me that I could get better at stuff, that I wasn't really a loser. I just was someone who was in a fucked up situation. But you could channel all that energy that you have as a young person into something and get better at it. And then all of a sudden people admired me. I was like, this is crazy. So I went from being someone who was incredibly insecure and basically a failure to someone who was really successful at this one thing that was very dangerous, that other people were scared of. And that gave me immense confidence and also a real understanding of the direct correlation between hard work and success.
I think that the main thing that stops us from sort of building an identity that we actually resonate with is how much we get attached and stuck on our unchanging self. And what I mean by that is not, just not liking yourself when you're changing, or not liking what you change into, or not liking yourself at the moment, but not being able to let yourself go. Let yourself change, embracing your own change. And I've been wanting to make a video on this for a minute, because I feel like it's something that's super prevalent, especially in this current generation. Not being able to allow yourself to change. And I feel like I was like this for so long. I've been like this, I feel like up until recently, which I hate to say because I like to think that I've been pretty self-conscious of myself for a while. But up until recently, I didn't really allow myself, at least in mind, to change. And I didn't understand why.
Me personally, I always get so caught up thinking I need to be doing something. And I'm not knocking on doing things. It's okay to do things. It's cool. But I always had this feeling that I need some objective. It needs to be like a mission. I need to always be going here, doing this, evolving, becoming enlightened, learning, working out, I just needed to do something, and I still do things. But what I realized is that all you need to do is live. That's all you need to do. Because life is this spiral, it's this infinite spiral of expansion. Everything that you need to happen is going to come to you within the spiral. So if you miss an opportunity, it's going to spiral back around and it's going to come back.
There's I'm really shy.
You're a shy guy.
Yeah, I naturally I'm very shy. And the other take that we kind of I was thinking about was embarrassment is an underexplored emotion.
Yes.
This idea of embarrassment being the thing that often keeps us from trying new things or from expressing ourselves, and the fear of embarrassment, the fear of being judged socially. Right?
I think many men have not done something because
you don't ask the girl out because you're nervous. You don't.
This year I've been thinking a lot about the sacrifices that come with success. Nothing comes for free. And I've reflected a lot over the years of how much of my mental peace I've had to sacrifice to accomplish what I've accomplished. And it's just been a lot of waking up at 5 a.m., going through the day, wake up, weigh myself, weigh my food, do my check-ins in the mirror, like go to the gym, work out, what's wrong with everything? It's like, am I good enough? Am I being enough? Am I doing enough to win the Olympia right now? It's all just compared to being Mr. Olympia, to that level of success. And, you know, people talk about what you sacrifice to be great at things, and they're normally like, you don't get to go hang out with your friends, you don't get to go party, go eat, go do these things. But I think for me, the biggest sacrifice has just been my mental peace. So the goal this year has been trying to find that, maintain it, have the mental peace while also thriving at a high level, and seeing how I can do that as efficiently as possible. And, you know, I'd like to be able to say I did so successfully.
But just understand that you are in the process right now. You are in the process of becoming, even if the world isn't clapping for you yet. So I don't think everyone's journey will take the same amount of time. So genuinely for me, when I look at the people who are the most successful in life, I don't think they're the smartest. I'll be frank with you, I'll be entirely honest with you. I don't think they're the most hardworking, although that is a big component to it. I think they are the cat who stands in front of the mirror, and rather than seeing a frightened kitten, they see a lion. And that's a choice you have to make, because I think that reflection, that self-image, it genuinely becomes a prophecy. It's interesting when you speak to very successful people, and you know, I even get this sometimes. People are like, oh, aren't you, like, you must be so surprised, or like, you must be like so in awe of everything you've accomplished. And I know the right thing to do in that moment is to be very humble and say, you know, I could have never imagined in wildest years, but I'll be honest, I knew for a fact. And I think that level of certainty is incredibly common with successful people. Now, the timelines are very different. I'll be honest, I didn't think that I would be able to accomplish what I have in the time frame that I did, but I knew no matter what, come hell or high water, it would be accomplished. So I genuinely believe the number one, in fact, potentially maybe even the only determining factor to someone who's going to become super successful in life is the ability not to wait for the world to tell you a hero. It's the ability and the self-belief to believe you are one before anyone crowns you with that.
It's easy to give up. You know, easy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. I'm done. I ain't going. Oh yeah. I ain't gonna keep going. Yeah, I don't feel like going to work. I'm done.
Yeah, man.
It's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
Somebody very close to me, I was at a party once and I was dancing and they said, embarrassment is an underexplored emotion. Go out there and make a fool of yourself. And things like that.
That's really a good fucking mantra.
To just go for it. Like feel that feeling, the fear of cringe.
That's
and
really
then go
good.
out there and do it.
Dude,
because everything
really
you want
good.
is on the other side of that.
I think the world is split into two camps. One camp says there is no difference between January 1st and December 31st. Like, why wait? It's December 10th, just do it now. And the other camp likes the idea of there being a culturally appropriate moment to stop doing something and start doing something else. Most people need to realize that they're already spending tons of time worrying about the future and the past. They're going back to this thing that they regret. I wish I'd done this differently. Oh, I have rumination about something that occurred. I have a sense of wistfulness for something that I've maybe missed. I'm grief for something that I've lost. And then they're concerned about the future. They think, I'm uncertain about this thing that's going to happen. I could plan, I could try and come up with a solution for this. So you're already worrying about the past. You're already doing reflection and planning, just in a very unstructured way where you don't get to choose when it hits you in the face. This is a culturally appropriate moment, like a scheduling appropriate moment for you to just step in and think, okay, in between Christmas and New Year, people that work in retail, God bless you, people that have got to go back to work and do that thing, but usually there's a bit of downtime. It's a little bit slower. It's Boxing Day, you're chilling out on the couch, and you're kind of thinking, wow, I was here again at mum and dad's house or with the in-laws or whatever. What was I doing last year? What was it like last year? You're already in a little bit of a reflective mode. There is no special magic super secret squirrel sauce in January 1st. But it is a good moment to check in because life tends to slow down a little bit. Work time is a little bit more slow. And you're already doing this. You're already thinking about the past and the future, and this is just a good structured opportunity to check in.
So afraid of things like adrenal burnout or chronic stress. And those things are problematic for many people. But I think that fear itself is a tremendously powerful lever. And when I say a lever, I mean a chemical lever. This dopamine-epinephrine relationship, the fact that dopamine, this molecule of craving, and epinephrine, this molecule of motivation and agitation, this kind of like stress, the fact that those are such close cousins is never going to be untangled. And so the doing a lot of psychological work to try and just move towards things from a place of love and desire, I think is a terrible mistake. I think that eventually comes, and it's wonderful to have those aspects to one's life. But I think we should all be in more appreciation for the fact that we are wired to be motivated when afraid, and we can leverage that. I'm not talking about living in fear all the time, but I think that we can leverage that. It's what can get us out the door. It's what can move us through tremendously difficult times.
Catch one time, and this dude goes, "You were blessed with a strong mind." Like, the hell are you talking about? I was blessed with a strong mind. That's something that you have to develop. You develop that over years, decades of suffering, and going back into the suffering. That's why a lot of people who graduate Navy SEAL training, they want to know, like, I talk about it very openly all the time. A lot of guys don't want to go back into that water. Don't want to go back into the hard stuff. Maybe not anything hard in life. Once you get through it, it's like you become a POW. Like, how many POWs want to go back to POW camp? None. When something sucks so bad in life, this is on this that we're talking about now, very few people want to go back. They're happy they graduated. I realized I'm the same way. I don't want to go back. I have to go back. I must go back. Because that is exactly where all the knowledge of my life exists, was back there, and what you're talking about. Well, I didn't know anything about this, but how I grew a will was constantly doing these things. To now, it's just life. I wake up, while it still sucks, it's just life. You don't sit back and like, oh my God, like, I have days I don't want to do it, but I know I'm going to do it. I know from years of just doing it. So that's beautiful, and this is why I came on here with you today, and I'm glad that you're talking about this, because human beings need to hear this. They need to stop hearing these hacks on this and that. There's no fucking hack, bro. There's no fucking hack. Yeah, you may this and that and saunas and all this shit it's great. There is no fucking life hack. To grow that thing, how do you grow it? Do it, and do it, and do it, and do it. That's the hack.
Don't disrespect yourself trying to earn the respect of others. I say that for a reason, because there's a story behind me saying that in the intent of this video. But I want to talk about in this video in general about letting people miss out on you. And now, specifically for myself, I've had a situation where I've caught myself disrespecting myself and lowering my own self-worth, lowering my own boundaries in order to earn the acceptance of somebody else. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I usually don't do that. Like, I'm a person who I enforce boundaries. I set limitations. I call people out on their actions, and I'm constantly like showing my self-respect. But what I've noticed and what I've started to become aware of is that with certain people, I allowed them to do various different certain things. And this is gonna look different for everybody. Some people do it with people who they think have more money than them, who they see as better than them, who they see as older than them. And they almost begin to diminish their own self-respect because they see them as better than them, or they see them as like a better person in some way, shape, or form, where they idolize them over themselves. And so what I've started realizing recently within my life is how I was allowing certain people to get away with certain things, and I wasn't calling them out on it like I usually would. And so this ties back into letting people miss out on you, because sometimes that's exactly what you have to do. Like, it's never worth trying to force people into your life or trying to earn the acceptance of certain people if it's gonna cost you the respect you have for yourself, if it means that you have to allow them to cross certain boundaries. If it means you have to put on a facade or put on this character every time you're around them in order for them to like you, if it means like they aren't gonna accept the true authentic version of yourself, like sometimes it's just not worth having certain people in your circle.
My dad gets sober, he comes home from rehab. I say, Daddy, are you never gonna drink again? And he said, I can't promise you that. I can promise you I'm not gonna drink for one more day at a time.
Wow.
And he lasted the rest of his life stacking those one more days up. And so I know the power of one more. And Jay, the other thing, I also know humans can change. I watched my hero do it. I watched my dad live my first 15 years. Saw him in a lot of fights.
Wow.
A lot of lying, a lot of difficult times. And then I saw this man transform. And in life, we're most qualified to help the person we used to be. And what we think in life, and I hope everybody gets this, we think the things we're most ashamed of, embarrassed by, our divorce, our bankruptcy, or maybe we've just always been average and ordinary. This disqualifies me from being successful and happy. What if that's not true? What if the hardest things of your life are the very things that qualify you? I'll give you an example. You know, my dad got sober. Somebody helped him. My dad was gonna take his life or lose his family, and I didn't know who it was till months ago. Some precious human being whom I didn't know. In my dad's darkest hour of his life, Jay said, I'll help you. I'll help you. Little did that person know, I'd be his son. And I'd help millions of people, and I'd be on Jay Shetty's show, and we both help millions of people. And the more ironic thing that this person helped my dad is what qualified them to help my dad. They were a drunk. They were an alcoholic. They at one time were a drug addict. They at one time were lying and stealing and living in the shadows. The very thing that person probably figured, that disqualifies me from having a successful life, was the one thing that did qualify them to help my dad. So if you're listening to this and you've had something you're ashamed of, or a failure or a setback, you're most qualified to help the people you used to be. And that person, that alcoholism they suffered with their drug addiction, helped my dad live those one more days forever.
That is the best explanation I've heard of how pain turns into purpose.
That's right.
The thing that brought you down, that broke you down, that made you feel like you were losing everything.
That's right.
Gave you back everything when you used that to serve the people that were struggling with it.
You guys have nothing to lose. You guys have nothing to lose if you guys start taking action today. If you guys just try and get 1% better on a daily basis, try and consistently take action towards your big, crazy, awesome dream life that you think probably isn't super attainable, but deep down, I know that you think it is possible because you've seen people like me, you've seen people everywhere else on the internet that have been able to make it. So you should know that it's possible. You see these people on a daily basis throughout all of social media, so why can't you?
So I'm going to explain to you how you can make being disciplined so fun that it's hard to be inconsistent. Now, a lot of us, when we think about being disciplined, living a disciplined life, a lot of times it can seem boring or just unappealing, right? Because of how challenging it actually is. But I think you're coming at it from the wrong perspective. Fun is not easy, okay? That's boring. Right? Like, if there's no challenge, if there's no achievement, if there is no progression, what do you have left? That is boring. That's extremely boring, and I find that unbearable. So I think initially we're coming at this from a bad perspective. I also think it's important to really talk about what discipline really is. Like, what does it mean to be disciplined or to live a disciplined life? Well, what it doesn't mean is you need to have a strict 4 or 5 a.m. regimen. It doesn't mean you have to do ice baths. You don't have to live like David Goggins in order to be considered disciplined. If you ask me, being disciplined just means that you're prioritizing yourself. You're prioritizing things that are going to make you better each and every day.
If I could work that hard every day, being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I live that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. That was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, you do that for 20 years, what do you have?
Got to show you this. So Mark Manson put this quote up a few months ago, and I've not been able to stop thinking about it. The most important question to ask is, what pain do you want in your life? What are you willing to struggle for? Anything worthwhile is going to require some degree of pain and struggle. So, if you're oriented toward the pain and the struggle, you're probably going to be more aligned with what you're capable of accomplishing, rather than if you just orient toward the pleasures. So good, because we say find the thing which you enjoy the most, but really what you're finding is what is the pain you're prepared to swallow the most. Nothing worthwhile is going to come without discomfort. You know, even for me and you, love doing the show, love speaking to all these interesting people, get to fly around the world and all. But I would be lying if I said I love writing show notes or doing research in Guatemala airport at 3 a.m. because I'm on a delayed flight and I've got an episode tomorrow. Like, it's grind. It's grind that I care about, and it's grind that I can do that other people couldn't do. But it's not grind, right?
It's time for you to go ghost, bro. This is one of the last levels. You know, when it comes to self-improvement, we know who's really self-improving. We know who's really working when you can't even reach them. It's like, man, I'm trying to call my homeboy and I can't even reach him. I'm trying to call my friends. I can't even reach them because they're locked in, because they're really doing the things that they need to do to take their life to the next level. That doesn't mean that you can't call your friends. It doesn't mean you can't contact them. It doesn't mean that you can't talk to anybody. But it just means that you're locked in and you're finally putting your purpose first. You got to just elevate in silence. You don't even have to tell people what you're doing. You're finally just pouring back into you. You're finally giving your life the time and attention that it deserves, that it needs in order for you to elevate. You don't have to explain yourself to nobody. If you don't want to answer that phone call, you don't have to. You can send a message afterwards. Hey, man, I'm just locked in right now. You know, I appreciate you calling. You know, I'm busy right now. I'm busy giving myself time and attention that I need so I could grow, so I can evolve, so I could be the best version of myself, because I know that y'all give so much of yourself to other people. You give so much of yourself to your friends, to your family, to your peers. It's not that you don't love them. It's not that you don't want to check up on them. But right now it needs to be you and God. You have to figure out your life. You have to figure out what direction you want to go into. You have to figure out your passion, your purpose. You have to get that clarity that you need. And in order to get that clarity, it has to be you and God. It can't be you and everybody else. Sometimes you have to separate yourself from the world so you can find out who you are again. Sometimes you have to refocus, regroup, rebrand yourself. You have to go through the journey of darkness so you can find yourself again. You got to go through hell so you can find the light that's within you. Going through these tough times, this darkness. A lot of y'all going through that already. And you making it harder to find the answers that you need, because every time you're supposed to be diving deep into your heart, into who you are, figuring out how you could get out of this mess, talking to God and connecting with him, you on the phone all day. You on social media all day. You keep distracting yourself. So when I say go ghost, I mean cut off the distractions once and for all. Focus on you once and for all. Focus on the things that you need to focus on once and for all. The distractions is just temporary pleasure. It's taking you away from your purpose. It's taking you away from finding who you need to be. That's what it's there for. It's there to distract you. It's there to distract you from diving deeper into finding out the person that you need to be.
You see, you are not waiting to become somebody. You already are. And I know that sounds very woo-woo and very like, oh, you know, self-help, you know, make yourself feel better about your life situation, but please hear me out. You see, you are invisible right now to the world. And trust me, I know how that feels. But what you're going through right now is the test. Most people don't fail because they're not talented. Most people fail because they can't survive the season where no one sees them, where no one acknowledges them. So if you're putting in work right now, I know what that feels like. And by the way, that is why I have some people ask me sometimes, like, why do you still keep up all the old videos of yourself when you were 15, 16? I've been uploading on YouTube for, this will be my 10th year now. Why do you keep those videos up on YouTube? And the reason why I do it is because I want people to know, or I want people to have a reference of what it's like to be invisible to the world. What it's like to feel like you are a hero, or you could be the hero, but the world just hasn't caught up to it yet. So I want you to know, if you're putting in all this work and no one sees it, or the world doesn't acknowledge you, you're not crazy, you're not this wacko dreamer. You are just underground, like the roots of a tree. You see, before a tree can blossom into its final form, what does it have to do? It has to build the foundations. Do you ever see the foundations? Do you ever see the roots? No, you never see the roots. The roots just grow deeper and deeper until the point in which you have a tree in front of you when even when the wind is howling, even when everything around it is shaking, it is the one thing that is impenetrable.